In her book, How to Do Nothing, Jenny Odo writes, "In a world where our value is determined by our productivity, many of us find our every last minute captured, optimized, or appropriated as a financial resource by the technologies we use daily." Have you ever felt that? That deep, hollow ache after a long day of grinding, a week of endless meetings, a month of chasing targets? That strange emptiness that settles in, even when you've been incredibly productive. You've cleared the inbox, you've finished the project, you've checked all the boxes. But as you finally lean back, a quiet, unsettling question whispers from the back of your mind. Is this it? Is this all I am? If that voice sounds familiar, you're in the right place. Because tonight, we're not just talking. We're going on a journey. Together, we're going to dismantle one of the most pervasive and damaging myths of modern life. The lie that you are your work. We'll explore how we fell into this trap, the silent psychological price it's exacting on our mental health. And most importantly, we'll arm ourselves with the philosophical tools and practical strategies to break free, to reclaim our identity from the clutches of productivity. This isn't about hating your career. It's about building a self so strong, so rich, and so vibrant that your job is simply something you do, not everything you get. Let's start with the scene we all know. You're at a party, meeting someone new. After the handshakes, the inevitable question drops. So, what do you do? It seems so simple, but just feel the weight of it for a second. Your answer isn't just a job title. It's a password. It's a shortcut for your social standing, your ambition, your education, your very I value as a person. We've all felt that quiet pressure to have a good answer, haven't we? This deep, unconscious merging of our identity with our professional output is what I call the great merger. It's the belief that our self-worth is a direct reflection of our achievements. It's why a promotion feels like a coronation, and a layoff feels like an existential death. It's the source of that low-grade anxiety on a Sunday evening, the Sunday scaries, that isn't just about the workload, but about another week of quality of performing, of proving that you are enough. This wasn't an accident. It's a feature of our world, carefully constructed over centuries. And to understand how to escape this prison, we first have to understand how the walls were built. Our journey starts not in a factory, but in a church. With the rise of the Protestant work ethic, brilliantly diagnosed by sociologist Max Weber, work was elevated from a simple necessity to a moral calling. Hard work and financial success were no longer just about survival. They became outward signs of divine grace, proof that you were one of the elect. Your labor wasn't just your own, it was a testament to your virtue. Laziness wasn't just a habit, it was a sin. This ideological shift laid the perfect spiritual groundwork for what came next. When the Industrial Revolution roared to life, this moral framework was repurposed for the factory. Humans were no longer artisans creating with their hands and soul. We became cogs in a vast, impersonal machine. Our time became a commodity to be measured, sliced, and sold. Time is money, they said, and in doing so, human life itself began to be valued by its economic output. This blueprint of human as productive unit has only accelerated. We've swapped the factory floor for the open plan office, but the operating system is the same. Today, it wears the seductive disguise of hustle culture. The entrepreneur is the new saint. Rise and grind is the new prayer. Social media is a relentless gallery of curated productivity, where everyone is launching a side hustle, optimizing their morning, and monetizing their passions, fueling a culture of comparison and burnout. But here's the unsettling truth they never tell you. This system, from the Protestant ethic to the hustle culture startup, was never designed for your flourishing. It was designed for economic efficiency, for capital accumulation, for the growth of companies and nations. We, The individuals were simply the fuel, and fusing our identity to this system is the ultimate hack to ensure we keep fueling it willingly. We don't just work for the company, we work for our very sense of self. Now, let's bring this down to earth. I want you to meet two people, Sarah and Mark. Sarah is a graphic designer, and she's brilliant. She turned her passion for art into a successful career. At first, it was a dream, getting paid to do what she loved. Perfect. But slowly, something started to curdle. Her work, once a source of joy, became a source of constant anxiety. Every new project wasn't an opportunity, it was a test. Every piece of client feedback wasn't a suggestion. It was a verdict on her talent, her taste, her very identity as a creative. She can't draw for fun anymore. The thought of picking up a pencil without a brief, without a goal, feels pointless. Her identity as Sarah the artist has been completely consumed by Sarah the designer for X Corp. Go. She has lost the part of herself that just loved to make things for the sake of making them. Her productivity is high, her portfolio is stunning, but her soul, the part that first fell in love with art, is starving. Then there's Mark. For 15 years, Mark was a manager at a tech company. He wasn't just an employee, he was a company man. His identity was Mark from TechCorp. His friends were his colleagues. His sense of purpose was his team's performance review. He wore the company polo shirt with pride. It wasn't just a job, it was who he was. Then one Tuesday, on a 15-minute video call, it was all erased. Restructuring, role redundant. Mark didn't just lose a job, he lost his story. He lost himself. The question, "What do you do?" now fills him with a cold dread. He feels invisible. When he sees old neighbors, he mumbles about being in transition because he has lost the vocabulary to describe himself. His productivity is now zero, and in the brutal math of the great merger, his value feels like zero too. This is the heart of the danger. This is the hook that gets us all. When work is your identity, a layoff is an existential death. When your passion is your job, criticism is a personal attack. When productivity is your worth, a slow day means you gare less. This is the profound human cost of the great merger. It makes our sense of self fragile, contingent, and ultimately owned by someone else. So, what do? We live in a world that demands this fusion, yet our spirits are suffocating. The answer isn't to fight the system head-on. It's to cultivate a new way of being within it. We need a philosophical toolkit for reclaiming our souls. Let's start with the ancient Stoics, those masters of mental freedom. Epictetus gave us a tool so simple and so powerful it can change your life. The dichotomy of control. He said everything in the universe falls into two categories: things you can control and things you can't. What can't you control? The economy, your boss's mood, a client's decision, whether you get that promotion or not. What can you control? Your effort, your integrity, the quality of your work, regardless of its reception. Your choice to be kind in a stressful meeting. Your decision to close your laptop at 6 p.m. and be present with your family. The Stoic path to peace is to focus every ounce of your energy on what you can control, and to accept what you cannot with grace. When you apply this to your job, it's like a key unlocking a cage. A negative review is no longer I am a failure. It becomes, my manager perceived X. I can't control their perception, but I can control how I respond and what skills I choose to work on. A lost client isn't I am not good enough. It's market conditions, which I don't control, shifted. My effort and my strategy, which I did control, were sound. This creates a crucial buffer of space between the event and your soul. But here's the secret to Stoicism. It's not about becoming a robot. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about wisely choosing where to anchor your self-worth. It's about building your identity on the bedrock of your own character, the one thing no one can ever take from you, instead of on the shifting sands of external praise. Next, let's turn to the existentialists. They gave us the radical idea that existence precedes essence. What does that mean? It means you are born, you exist, without a predefined purpose or identity. You are not born a manager or an artist. Those are just roles you play. Your core self, your essence, is something you must stay create through the sum of your choices, your actions, and your values. Your job is a thing you do, but it cannot be your essence unless you give up your freedom and let it. You are not your job title. You exist first. You are the person who chooses to be kind, who loves old movies, who learns to bake bread, who is a loyal friend, who feels awe looking at the stars. These choices, these loves, most of which happen far from your desk, are the real chisel strokes that sculpt who you are. This idea is the life raft for Mark, the laid-off manager. His despair came from believing his essence was a manager. Existentialism says, no, Lord. The loss of the job was just the shedding of a role. The raw material of his existence, his freedom to choose, is still intact. He now faces the terrifying, but ultimately liberating, task of deciding what to build next. He can choose to be a mentor, a student, a grandfather. His existence is a blank canvas once more. Now we've armed ourselves with philosophy. But what most people miss is that this isn't about diminishing your work. In fact, it's about loving the rest of your life more. It's about building an identity so robust and full of meaning outside of work that the pressures of your job can no longer hold your sense of self hostage. The goal isn't to shrink your professional life. It's to magnify your personal life so much that the professional part becomes just that, one part of a magnificent whole. Okay, that's the theory. It's time to fight back. Here are 4 practical rituals to reclaim your soul from the productivity machine, starting tonight. First, the sanctuary of the useless hobby. Find something to do that has zero potential for monetization. No path to professional development. It must be gloriously, beautifully useless. Learn to play the ukulele badly. Go birdwatching. Write terrible poetry you show to no one. The point is not achievement. The point is eye-playing. It's a space where you are a beginner, where you can be clumsy, where the only goal is the joy of the process itself. This useless hobby is your sanctuary. It's a deliberate act of rebellion against the attention economy. You are reclaiming your time not for optimization, but for joy. It retrains your brain to find value in something other than accomplishment. Second, the ritual of the hard shutdown. The blurred lines between work and life are how the great merger seeps in. You must create a firm boundary. The hard shutdown is a ritual that signals to your brain that the workday is over. It could be closing your laptop with a definitive click. It could be a 10-minute walk around the block to wash the day away. It could be changing out of work clothes and into home clothes. This isn't time management. It's identity management. It declares that work you is off the clock, and home you, the parent, the partner, the friend, the cook, is now in charge. You stop being a single 24/7 worker and start becoming a whole person again. Third, redefine your metrics for a good day. We measure a good day by external metrics, tasks completed, emails answered. This is a rigged game. It's time to create your own internal scorecard. At the end of the day, instead of asking what did I achieve, ask better questions. Did I learn something new? Was I kind to someone who was struggling? Did I act with integrity? Did I take a moment to notice something beautiful? By shifting your metrics from outcomes, you can't control to virtues, you can. You reclaim the definition of success. You can have a day where everything goes wrong, and still call it a success because you acted with patience and learned from your mistakes. This is the ultimate act of self-sovereignty. You're no longer playing their game, you're playing yours. Fourth, and finally, practice self-compassion as a discipline. Your inner critic is the enforcer of the great merger. It's the voice that says a mistake at work means you are stupid. Self-compassion is the antidote. It isn't about being lazy. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend. When you have a bad day, what would you say to a friend? You wouldn't say, "You're a failure." You'd say, "That sounds so tough. You did your best. Tomorrow is a new day." Talk to yourself like that. This is a radical psychological practice. It severs the link between performance and work. It acknowledges that you are a human being who is fallible, who has limits, and whose value is inherent and unconditional. It is the final, decisive act of detaching your unchanging worth from the fluctuating results of your labor. So, we've journeyed from the roots of our productivity obsession, seen the human cost, and armed ourselves with philosophy and a practical toolkit. The path to finding yourself outside your work is not a quick fix. It is a quiet daily practice of building a bigger life. It's the slow construction of a self so interesting and so grounded in its own values that your job, no matter how important, is returned to its proper place as one chapter in your story, not the entire book. You are not your productivity. You are not your job title. You are the author of the entire volume. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more journeys into the ideas that shape our lives. In our next video, we'll explore the perfect sequel to this topic, the forgotten art of leisure, and how to reclaim true rest in a world that never stops. But before you go, I have a question for you, and I would love to read your answers in the comments. What is one thing you do, completely unrelated to work, that makes you feel most truly and vibrantly yourself?